Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by the following publishers. First, Mythos Games with the Eros Engine core rulebook. This is a standalone tabletop RPG, but it is also an add-on that you can use with any other tabletop RPG. It focuses on passion, romance, and the physicality of intimate encounters. Definitely check it out. This channel is also proudly sponsored by pt2 Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have also released the pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG Daughters of Lamb, where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. Then we have the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products and check out their free tabletop RPG, the Red Roleplaying Game. A generic system that can handle any sort of theme, genre, flavor, setting that you can think of. All of the links to these amazing publishers will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Today, I continue my review series featuring the Alien role-playing game, the Evolved Edition. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review series, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about character creation. Character creation in this game is very simple. It is mostly a point distribution process when it comes to the mechanics, of course, the mechanical side of your character, but you also have the nuances, the depth, the complexity, so that the character feels like a real person. In cinematic play, which usually consists of one-shots, the characters are usually pre-generated character, handed to you by the game mother or game master. But when it comes to campaign play, it is much better to create everything from scratch, as your character will evolve during the course of the campaign of various connected scenarios, or perhaps your character will meet an untimely demise, but still, it feels more personal. It is a character that you watch grow and develop and perhaps even die throughout the campaign. First, you need to come up with a concept. This also has to do with the campaign framework. Are you going to be space truckers? Perhaps colonial marines? Maybe frontier colonists? You also have a life path method, if you wish to employ that. It's, if I remember correctly, it should be on page 282. Let me double check. Yes. So you wanted more of a traveler type of experience, you have the life path generation method. But if you want to build everything, if you want more control over your character, first you choose your career. This determines your background and your role in the group. It also influences your attributes, your skills, and your starting gear, and what starting talent you can have. There are 9 core careers, and we will talk about those in the next part of this review series. When it comes to attributes, they are pretty self-explanatory. They are strength, agility, wits, and empathy. You distribute your points, and with the exception of the android, you feel a bit more limited, but the android does have an advantage. After all, you're synthetic. You're engineered to be potentially better, but the android also has some drawbacks. You can't push skill rolls. Unlike, we will talk more about pushing later on in the review series, but suffice to say, we humans have that unexplainable spiritual capacity of overcoming the odds against all predictions, right? But the androids do not have that, despite their bonuses. However, they also do not suffer stress, and they never make panic rolls. They don't panic. I was just thinking, when an android suffers some sort of short circuit or some problem within the inner programming, that could be seen as panic, right? It's just that they don't panic as us related to fear, to terrifying situations. And they suffer damage differently. We will talk about that in a future part of this review series. And quite similar to the Blade Runner tabletop RPG, also by Free League Publishing, of course, excellent publisher. You can also keep your nature, your construction as an android a secret. So if you're a synthetic humanoid construct, perhaps you will keep this under wraps, under the blankets until you want to do the big reveal. So that is actually possible in the game. When it comes to skills, they represent the knowledge that you have acquired during your life. They determine, along with your attributes, how effectively you can perform certain actions in the game. They are measured within a range of 0 to 5 when it comes to the skill level. You can attempt pretty much any action, but that doesn't mean you're going to be successful, so it's much better to attempt things within your area of expertise. Concerning talents, they are tricks, moves, and minor abilities that give you a small edge. These are determined by your career at the start of the game. You also have some other details like stress, because life in space is lethal, so you're going to find yourself under extreme pressure, mounting tension. We will talk more about this later on. It starts at 0, but it can increase by pushing rolls. When it comes to resolve, this is about keeping your nerves in check. A numerical rating equal to your wits plus empathy, divided by 2, rounding fractions up. And when it comes to health, this represents your well-being. If it is reduced to 0, you are broken and you might die. We will talk more about this later on in the review series. You also determine personal things such as your name, your appearance, your personal agenda. You can of course keep it hidden. You never know. Usually in the cinematic playstyle, you can have some agendas that could clash with the agendas of other characters, clash quite dramatically, to the point that there could be a player character versus player character situation. But in campaign play, because you have already known each other for a bit, you trust each other to a certain degree, you expect that the agendas, the secrets are not constantly clashing against the agendas of other player characters, but you can still do some big reveals, add some drama when you communicate your secrets throughout the course of the campaign. And you establish a buddy and a rival. Your buddy, your friend, is pretty much that, but your rival is someone that is not necessarily your enemy, but you do compete with that character quite a bit. So you establish a buddy and a rival at the start of the game with the other members of the group. And I was thinking, if you wanted to have like a 2-player character type of affair, I think it would be a good idea to have, perhaps you consider your friend, your pal, but your friend actually has a rivalry with you. That would make for some dramatic situations, don't you think? Then you determine your gear. This is usually given in cinematic agendas, but when it comes to your starting gear in campaign play, this is determined by the choice of your career. Depending on the situation, of course, you could also start with a vehicle or even a spaceship. Encumbrance is also very easy to handle. You have a number of regular sized items that you can carry. The slots, the amount of items that you can carry, is determined by double your strength rating without any problem. But there are items that are going to be heavier, so they could count as 2 items, but there are also other items that could be quite tiny, so they don't count. Or maybe a large number of those tiny items, it counts as 1. There are also consumables, many things that could, such as ammo, substances, liquids, doses. In order for you to minimize the bookkeeping, you handle it via a supply roll. You make a roll and you see if the item is reduced or if it stays the same in quantity. Remember that in this alien tabletop role-playing game, you use six-sided dice. The one is the facehugger symbol, and the six has another symbol. But so you can use regular six-sided dice to play. It is also recommended that when you handle non-player characters, many of the roles are hand-waved and just use it based on context, depending on the ammunition that the non-player character is spending or other situations that could be a bit too bookkeepy. It is recommended here that the game master or game mother handles things according to the context, according to the situation. You also develop your character during play. By spending experience points, you can increase your skills, your talents, or learn new ones. And how do you obtain experience points? Like with other free league tabletop RPGs, this is handled quite elegantly by answering questions at the end of the session. Once the session is ended, the game mother asks, did you risk or sacrifice something to further your personal agenda? Did you challenge or stand up to your rival player character? Did you make a panic roll? Depending on the answers, you will obtain experience points. And this concludes this part of the review series. In the next part, we are going to take a look at the different careers. Character creation is very simple. It gets a bit more, it's not complicated, but complex when it comes to the character life path optional process, but that is optional. If you want to start right away without any randomness, use the standard method. But I do highly recommend that you use the life path generator system. If you want to surprise yourself, you want to have that mini game sort of experience before the session. It's very fun, and you end up with some very interesting results. Thank you for watching this part of the review series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the Super Thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master, and remember, in tabletop role-playing games, you're not having a conversation about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you and see you later.